Is this something you might like? The beaches and the sunshine? Silly question, I know. And the climate? An average balmy temperature of 72 degrees. Maybe you're drawn to the cultural diversity or the nightlife. South Beach, perhaps. How about the theme parks? Now that's fun. And recreation, golf, boating, fishing, year-round. Of course, we're talking about Florida. While this certainly looks and sounds like a sales pitch, it's not. For decades, people from other states and countries, many of them retirees, have come in droves, escaping the cold, looking for paradise. An estimated 1,000 people a day. Yep, you heard right, 1,000 a day. Nick Farinella is the top real estate agent in Brevard County, which takes in Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, along with about 70 miles of coastline. Nick, what do people tell you about why they are moving to Florida, particularly retirees?
Well, I think, of course, it has a lot to do with the weather. I mean, look at these beautiful palm trees, clear skies. I mean, we're steps away from the ocean. Without a doubt, I think that's the key. You know, as I told you earlier, you know, our average temperature here is 72 degrees. I mean, you just can't get any better than that. That's paradise. So I think weather is, of course, the #1 reason why people want to retire here.
So much about Florida can be intoxicating, enticing. For millions of people, it's like living in a playground. But cracks may be starting to show in Florida's armor. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 1 million people moved to Florida in 2022. But nearly 500,000 said, "We're done here." Was it a difficult decision to leave?
No. By the time that we made the decision, it was not hard at all. It was the best move I had ever made.
Irene Ferris, her husband Tom, and daughter Olivia lived in a modest home on Florida's west coast for decades. A year ago, they moved to the North Carolina mountains. For them, Florida was getting way too expensive. $6,000 for homeowners insurance. Here, $1,300. In Florida, $500 electric bills in the summer months.
My first electric bill when we got here in May was like $80. Says, you know, obviously we like to have everything open as much as we can. So it's a huge savings in between the electric. I'm not paying for water and sewer. I'm paying a little bit more in property taxes, but I have 5 acres.
And you have a bigger house.
And I have a house that's over twice the size, yeah.
And here in North Carolina, no worries over hurricanes or too many people. They simply fell out of love with Florida. Would you say that you were fed up?
Yeah, I was. I admit it. I was fed up. I was tired of being hot. I was tired of wondering what my insurance was going to go up to. I was tired of, you know, dealing with what is increasingly a really negative political environment with people.
Do you think you kind of sleep easier, more restful living here than down there? I mean, less anxiety?
I'm not worried about crime. I'm not worried about storms. I'm not worried about the finances as much. I mean, yeah, I do sleep much easier here, and I sleep with the windows open.
While the Ferrises are not retired yet, facing constantly increasing costs, they couldn't even plan for it in Florida. Finances are an issue for many older Floridians in particular. 12% of the 22 million people here are between the ages of 65 and 74. Home prices have leveled off in the past couple of years, but the median price of a home is nearly $400,000, up a staggering 60% over the past 6 years.
Is it fair to say that Florida is no longer as affordable as it once was, and really you have to have money to be comfortable?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it was always a state, you know, because I've lived here my whole entire life, that, you know, it's extremely affordable. But now, you know, the food costs have went up tremendously, and then also, of course, the real estate has.
And those homeowners' insurance rates, according to a recent study, are the most expensive in the country. The national average is $2,300 a year. Florida's average is approaching, get this, nearly $12,000 a year, thanks to climate change-induced sea level rise and destructive hurricanes. So where are some people going who just don't want Florida on their dance card? Well, how about Limestone County, Alabama? It's the fastest growing county in the state. And this is Athens, the county's largest city. If you'd have told the mayor 10 years ago about all this growth, he'd have said you were crazy. $114,000 people live in the county, and the area is growing at nearly 3.5% a year. Athens, the biggest city in the county, at 28,000 people, is somewhat of a bedroom community for neighboring Huntsville, which boasts high-paying jobs in aerospace and technology fields. People who can afford.
This one, actually, the appraisal on this one's a little over $900,000.
Even at that price, homes in Athens are a bargain, 31% below the national average. And high interest rates have not stopped the new construction boom. Tiffany Pack owns Dream Key Real Estate.
What would you say are some of the biggest selling points or the reasons why people want to move to Athens, Alabama?
I think the small town feel, the culture. It's a very close-knit community. Everybody, you know, kind of knows everybody.
In other words, quality of life, including golf course communities. And during summer, the Tennessee River is a popular weekend hangout. Seniors make up 20% of Athens' population, and by all accounts, love it here. Along with other retirees, Jim Ford hits the pickleball court about every day. He's pretty darn good. When he retired a few years ago, Jim and his wife moved to Florida from Washington, D.C. That lasted less than 2 years.
That's a lot of moving in a short period of time. You mustn't have cared for Florida too much.
Well, I'll just say we didn't really, it wasn't for us.
Why?
Because we, I'm not going to go into too much detail.
We don't have to go into too much detail, but
the climate was warm. The people were a little bit cooler.
Cold.
the people were cold.
Yes.
Oh, just not welcoming, not
Right.
warm and friendly, and
It was
Not
good.
the southern hospitality that you have here.
not Southern hospitality.
Right. Well, most of them were from New York and New Jersey.
Relatives encouraged the Fords to move to Athens, so they did. It helped that Alabama does not tax Social Security benefits or income from government pensions. And the state's property tax rates are amongst the lowest in the country. At the recreation center, not far from the courts, nothing is far away in Athens, nearly every day there are activities for seniors.
We've been here since '98.
Charlotte Buning lived all over the U.S. before retiring here. Tom Newsom was born and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. Lived there for 68 years.
So you think you made the right decision getting out of Florida?
Yeah, I go back to Florida maybe once a year now for a week, and I'm glad to get back to Alabama.
Did you ever think about moving to Florida?
I spend a whole 2 months in Florida every winter. So no, I'm not real fond of Florida because it gets too crowded.
Certainly can't use the word crowded in the same sentence with Athens or Limestone County. Think of it this way. Based on Census Bureau data, about 72 people a week move to Limestone County. Florida adds that during rush hour. And about 3 times more people move to Florida every month than live in Athens. Locals are quick to let Mayor Ronnie Marks know they've got a good thing going here.
Sure. I'm from Indiana originally.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
My wife and I have lived in Florida. We've lived in Tennessee. We like this place better than anywhere else. People are more friendlier here. It's just a great place to live.
You're kidding. What part of Indiana?
At Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
I like Indianapolis. That's fun.
At the corner store, E.G. White's Mercantile, where you can find just about anything you need, we caught up with Mayor Marks.
Mayor, I don't think I've ever interviewed a mayor or city official or county official who was whittling when we started the interview. This is definitely a first.
Great. Well, I may not be doing a very good job, and I think what the wonderful part of it is they brought Band-Aids out.
Well, just in case.
Just in case.
You can't be
too
careful.
Obviously, if I'm in coat and tie and quiddling, I'm not an expert at this.
Now, this is Bean Bean's Boutique.
Marks has been mayor for 10 years. What Athens is experiencing, he says, is unprecedented.
Are you worried about growing too fast?
The primary thing that would concern me is let's maintain our atmosphere, Southern culture, and that quality of life.
Caitlin Bibby and her husband moved here 6 months ago from Memphis, Tennessee. They were sold on that quality of life and affordability.
We got our dream house, 4-bedroom, for a really affordable cost.
How much difference is the cost of a house here from where you were in Memphis? Could you afford one in Memphis?
No, absolutely not. We looked up our same model house in Nashville, where my husband is from, and it's $200,000 more for the same floor plan, same builder.
The restaurant Caitlin works at, Old Black Bear Brewery, is one of several new restaurants to open in Athens. The owners are hoping to capitalize on the area's growth they believe is just beginning.
Could you have imagined when you started that this would be the case?
I never imagined what we're experiencing right now. I always knew that it was a wonderful place to be, but and I think it's mainly our young people have said to me and to some of our staff members, it's the quality of life. Don't lose the green space, don't lose the quality of life, and people enjoy being here.
Quality of life. A whole lot of the time it equates to happiness. For so many, Florida has been and still is that place. But increasingly, it's in places like Athens, Alabama, or Irene Ferris's North Carolina mountains.
This is forever. When I keep on telling people they will have to dig me up out of the driveway if they want me to leave, because I'm so happy.